messaged you about that the other night.
Oh, yeah.
Ryan.
AFR hits. Your dad really knows how to build a car, doesn't he? And pretty neat wiring. Oh, look, the street dude, or the street racing channel's over there. That Iski guy, top gun.
Oh my God. All right. Off to Disney World.
Yeah.
Whoa. Where are we getting there, Dad? I don't know. Busy, huh? Go down to the house.
We're little R-bones in that. Full-size, gigantic car. It's bigger than the wagon. It almost looks like it's bigger than the wagon. That shelf up there with the lights are kind of nice. Check this side out. That's kind of nice. Toolbox right on the tabletop.
Where we came in there. Where would that be?
It's, you know, Marquee Private. It's north of 7.
I could take pop these clips out and take this panel off and all the accessories on it. Move this, do what I gotta do, and put it right back. So if you had to allow access behind it, you don't have to just take everything off and take the whole wall. Just pop the panel off.
Kevin knows how to fix that. Kevin knows how to fix that. Fix that. 37. It's seated, but the LT5 doesn't do that. It is
basically is a product I'm looking for a market.
Or is it just unique?
Suggest everything from pontoon boats to engine midget to S10.
So yeah, that's right. There's that other 6-week car. Hey, look, it's got a much better look to it now. They must have. That's right, because it burned down. Because it didn't have the best scheme last time. Lunchtime at PRI. I got Scott from M&M Competition Engines and Zach. Zach's going to ask all about the LT1 block that these guys make.
Yep. So some of the basic questions we have is with this new LT style block, what comes factory that we see here? Is this basically the entry level package, or is this upgraded caps? What type of things do we have going on here?
Everything we do is going to be standard. So yeah, cap standard. We're going to be standard 350 main. We're going to do the one-piece rear main seal. Obviously, the front water for the LT is going to be standard. This version is modified for a normal small block Chevrolet pump, which, as you can see, all the holes are there for the standard LT pump. 391 raised cam. It's going to come standard 55 millimeter roller, 60 millimeter Babbitt. Same housing bore for either one. Standard 904 lifter pattern in it. It's going to come 4120 rough board. We can either do a 9025 deck or 9325 deck. So that's the standard features. The screw-in AN core plugs are standard. AN oil galley plugs are going to be standard. So we just tried to step it up a little bit.
Okay, and what do you guys figuring the max bore would be available?
Max bore, honestly, is going to be kind of up to the engine builder, to be honest with you. This area is always going to be the area of concern on the 4400 application. If you feel comfortable going 4200 or more, you can. 4185 is going to be the marketable bore size, but guys are going to go much better.
Okay. And then with the raised cam, everything I go here, what's the max stroke that you're advertising or something like
well, max stroke, again, depends on a few other things. Basically, your cam journal size. With the 55 millimeter, you're only going to be limited depending on the rod, the aluminum or steel rod. Everything is machined for a 4-inch stroke and a steel rod as it sits. You can put more than that in it. 4125 is usually the maximum we recommend. Because of that rod to cam clearance, being able to get that cam journal in there you want, and making sure that you get the right piston and rod combination in it.
Okay. And then with the larger bore on this, what head gaskets are you guys usually running on something like this?
Kinetic will be able to probably help you out with that.
Okay.
Yeah, that's something that we've developed the block. We're kind of letting the LT guys kind of run the aftermarket parts that go along with it.
Okay.
So we've kind of left our hand out of that part of it a little bit.
And then what's the standard head stud size on one of these?
It's a 7/16 throughout. They're all blind. We did go to the extent of making a longer head stud boss, so you would run an aluminum style head stud. It gives you much more thread engagement, keeps that cylinder much more true at the top of the cylinder, so you get your ring seal to stay where it needs to be.
And on the new style LT versus the old, original LT1, what's the difference in the oil galley system or your priority oil? Is it the same?
Oiling is completely different. In fact, we went through great lengths to make sure that's exactly what we needed to do. Priority main oiling, like you said. Just a simple fact of where these oil holes are located. Weeks, months of time were spent getting those oil holes in the right location. Not necessarily in the LT world, but this block can do a lot of other things as well. Some guys are going to be well over an inch lift of cam in these things. When you start to get to that point, you have to worry about that lifter travel and uncovering that oil hole. Not only in where the oil band around the lifter is, but also where that axle goes through the lifter. So we've got that in such a location that it'll actually keep that oil where it needs to be and not dump oil every time that lifter goes full lift. Something else we did what we call the equal feed oiling. So if you notice all 4 of these lifters, all 4 of these, 4 of these, 4 of these, you're going to have the same amount of oil going to each one of them. Okay. So you're not trying to feed this lifter with oil that starts from here or vice versa. Okay. So the lifters always have the same amount of oil.
Okay. For cylinder heads, you were talking about that earlier. What cylinder heads work on these?
Any existing LT heads, aftermarket or factory, will go right on there. Any small block Chevrolet head, factory or otherwise, will go on here. So just pretty much any small block platform will go right on.
And I know yesterday we were here, we were speaking to you. You had a little project going on over there with the SB 2.2s. Do you want to go over anything with that, or?
We've done that several times in the past, and not necessarily just with the SB2 casting, but obviously the LT platform with the reverse cooling has a lot of benefits to it.
Right.
A lot of guys like to take advantage of that.
Okay.
Not every head is just a direct bolt-on to be able to take advantage of the reverse cooling, but with some small modifications, you can make about any head do the reverse cooling.
Okay. And you guys offer those services as well?
We do.
Okay.
Can you go over again what you would do if you wanted to make a Gen 1 small block head?
Sure.
The water path and the intake manifold.
Absolutely. So the way we actually machine this block, obviously you've got a factory LT front. We wanted to kind of dual purpose this block for guys that are wanting to run the early model stuff. So in doing such, we had to do 2 little simple plates. We've got 2 different blocks set up here. This particular block right here is set up for your standard water. So your standard small block Chevrolet pump, just like you would do on any early model small block Chevrolet. We've got this one set up with a reverse cooling setup. So basically you have the back of this plate will block off this bottom water port, which forces water right through this top hole, through the head, goes through the head, back through the block, back to the radiator. So, and all that can be done with a normal small block Chevrolet pump. So any of the electric water pumps, any of the aftermarket water pumps that are out there, you can utilize those right on that.
That's good info. I like that.
In this particular situation, you can see this is set up for just standard cooling. So you block off the top that goes through the head, and then you're just pushing the water through the block first. And just as any normal small block Chevrolet early model watering system, it goes right back through your crossover and back to the radiator.
All right, so one last question for you.
Okay, go ahead.
One last question for you. As far as the raised cam in this block, a lot of the guys are going to be switching over from like the standard LT stuff, may not be aware of what's out there for timing sets, timing covers, things like that. Can we speak to kind of the dual bolt pattern you got going on and your standard LT versus your small block Chevrolet?
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, since you've got a 391 raised cam, some things are going to change, like you mentioned. But we did offer, like you said, a dual bolt pattern here to kind of give guys some options. I know there's in current development, they are doing some LT front cover raised cam stuff. We're not involved with it, but the aftermarket industry has already taken the reins and running with it. Until then, if guys want to kind of get the ball rolling, don't want to wait for that, utilizing these 2 bowl holes right here instead of these 3 will allow you to put just a normal front cover on it. This is a Jessel front belt front cover that has been made for years. It goes right on here.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Unless you want to come with me. Yeah, come with me. How you doing, boys? You guys got any questions? We can roll that in. Thank you. So,
This is for Jim Morgan. Here's your new engine dyno. It's like a mini car.
I'm not even a sales guy.
It's like this. So I like the the compact everything. You don't have that water junk in the way.
It's got the water hooked up at the top.
Yeah. So you'll run it up. They have on different heights on that one.
You guys doing it right today? Yes, sir. You guys have any questions for the tables?
Ezekiel and Isaiah are here from Loveville.
That top knob just sets the tension on there. So then once it touches off of the material, you just count the amount of turns that you do to get the same depth. And then they make different dies.
For this,
You get that one with the same die. But
all right. So for this size, there's a die.
yeah, this here.
Yeah. But you still have, you still use your craft to make it straight.
You probably can lay it out with a layout.
Oh, with a
So this thing
trace.
over here, you can do the speed, variable speed, and then forward or reverse, and then it's all via that pedal.
Yeah.
1.2 or 1.4 when they're just starting to open. Right. And that's the key, is find out what is that point. And so we give that to you in the output data. Right. And then all you have to do is just copy and paste right from Excel into HV tuners, SCT, whatever you're using.
Yeah.
And we do it for standalones. So I give you the breakpoints at either 3-bar or 4-bar. So, and like if you got a Holly, you can't change these breakpoints. You need these oddball breakpoints. I just fit the curve to that. I've actually added more to this one. So I've got Megasquirt. They have a multiplier on theirs as well. And then Megasquirt actually has a way to do the nonlinear. Holly doesn't do nonlinear. Megasquirt does. I give it to you.
This is like a I don't know, like a tuning classroom kind of company.
That's me.
That's you? Oh, you're Greg Banish. Okay.
Yeah, so I've written 3 books now. My new book will be out in the spring. It's on emissions and diagnostics.
Okay.
So, and I've taught classes. I used to teach the SCT Advanced Dealer Training course to their dealers. Okay. I've had my own classes, done webinars. I spoke at SEMA this year twice.
Yeah, that makes.
So I do a lot of training. I get guys who, hey, will you come to my shop and train me? Sure.
Right.
I want to see people be successful, be smart, and be good at this practice, right?
Right.
I've been doing this for a while. I've been an OEM calibration engineer for a long time. So I try and point people in the right direction.
Well, it's definitely.
This is just a tool we needed.
Right.
Yeah. And it has nothing to do with Mustang dynos?
So I make it. Mustang and I have an agreement that they're marketing it. So you can order through them or through me. You'll get the same bench. I'm gonna make it anyway. I'm gonna quality control check it before it ships.
Right.
And when it arrives at your shop and you get it unpacked, I'll be the guy doing a Zoom session with you to walk you through using it.
Okay.
So instead of doing a written manual and everything, I want you to run the machine.
That's why, if I have a 90s LT1 car to tune, Zach won't help because the injectors are never characterized. Right.
So like a lot of times what we have problems with is that we'll run a standalone on the engine dyno, and we'll run like a Holley standalone on there. And a lot of times you'll have customers that have either some injectors that are super hard to find, data for,
Or they're
unavailable.
Amazon 30 pounders.
Yeah, or like something that not even on the cheap side, just like a Bosch, even a Bosch injector that's discontinued.
What you were just watching.
Yeah.
These are Bosch 1000s.
Yeah.
Right now, Bosch didn't release
the
the data
50?
because Bosch is not in that business, right? They
Right.
don't care.
Yeah.
It wasn't meant for you to be using on your Camaro.
Right.
But if I run them, I'll give you the data.
Right. And that's
Yeah.
where we're at with that. A lot of times, so ask me when it comes to the engine dyno to tune on it. I mean, that's fine. What injectors running? And then it's like sometimes you got to go through several different things. And I can get a hold of somebody every now and then that's done them and say, this should get you close. Then you still got to tweak them.
Well, and the problem is, like, when we're idling
Yeah.
and you have an air-fuel ratio error,
Yeah.
it could be the injector flow rate, the injector offset,
Yeah.
the injector non-linearity down low, or your volumetric efficiency table.
Right.
Yeah.
What you hope it's your
And all you
volumetric
got
efficiency
is one wideband measurement to try and figure out.
Yeah.
So if I take all of these away, and I say, okay, this is your injector data.
Yep.
Now work on your volumetric efficiency.
That's why I said you hope it's
So
volumetric
you don't, because if
efficiency.
any error that you get wrong over here in either flow rate or non-linearity or whatever, you bake an opposing error in over here to some other table, just to try, and it's right on that day, but then the temperature, pressure, whatever changes, right? The weather changes, and now it's a little rich. Well, it wasn't rich when we tuned it yesterday. Why is it rich today?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So if we get the fuel flow right, now you concentrate on airflow, and now you're good. Right? I just want to make your tuning job easy. Right? So if you got a nice engine dyno or you got a nice low bearing chassis dyno, you're going through all that trouble to get good equipment, you got good wideband, you got tuning software, you spend time learning how to do your job right. This is like step one. I just want to make sure step one goes really smooth for you. And you see it's running all four simultaneously. They're actually sequential if you slowed it down. But what you're going to see is, see how it dropped one of them? And it's measuring everything except this one. And then it's going to turn that one back on and turn this one off. Right? And then it's going to do the same over here. And what it's doing is collecting the data that I can process to tell you how they flow relative to each other here at 2.5 milliseconds, and then we do it again at 5 milliseconds. So I can find out, are these injectors all close enough to each other that I should be tuning with them? So if I have eBay injectors, and one of them stuck, it will be obvious because one of these will be way up here and the others are over here. Right? Okay. Yeah, I either need to pound that injector with a hammer or go get a new set of injectors before I waste my time trying to tune it. That's fine, but what it is not is trying to unstick something or clean them or whatever. You can clean them in a $50 ultrasonic bath from Amazon. Right? I'm not going to insult you by trying to put that into your precision test measurement equipment that's kind of expensive, because that's not our job. Ultrasonic baths are easy, right? And I ruin it for everyone. Like, look, you can basically use windshield washer solvent because it's methanol with 2 drops of Dawn heated in the ultrasonic bath, and you could run these leads and pulse them while it's sitting in there. If that doesn't unstick them, I don't want to run them on my good engine. That's it. I'll go find a proper set of injectors, because if they stuck once and we just barely got them freed, I'm not going to go make 1,000 horse with that. Pray that my ringlands stay put, right?
Yeah.
Not a good bet. So I'd rather, now if I get a new set of injectors and they're all working and they're all consistent to each other, I just need the data.
Exactly.
so that I don't chase my tail on the dyno.
And even the new ones need to be proven.
Yeah, well, and I got guys who sell lots of injectors, like you can quality control check them. It doesn't take long to run these tests. You know, in this data collection, when I first started doing this, I was filling your rats and eyeballing. It took me 8 hours to collect the data on each set of injectors. And then I had to go do a bunch of math after the fact to process it. Now it's done in 400 seconds.
Is your flow meter in there a little propeller thing?
It's not a propeller. It's a positive displacement flow. This thing's expensive, but it's really good.
Oh yeah, that's better than what we have at the nuke plant.
Yeah, I mean it's not a Coriolis meter. These are 3 times as expensive as this. This is a positive displacement flow meter, but it's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
It's every one of these when I get them, every one of them comes with a certification sheet that I keep on file. They're routinely like within 0.2%.
Yeah.
Across a range of flows. They're pretty. You know, this is not my problem.
And the industry
injector
standard
shot to shot can't be that consistent. Right. So yeah, we did that on purpose. You know, I tried a bunch of different flow meters. I tried to find a more economical one. They just weren't working good. So I'm like, I'm sorry, but it's going to have to be expensive. Mm-hmm. But I can't put a cheap one in and get the good data. And if it's all about getting the data, then we need the good instrumentation. We run 2 different power supplies. So I've got this variable power supply that the controller owns. And that's how we run it from 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 volts to get all those offsets. Mm-hmm. That's all done with this power supply controlled by this. It's standard with the bench. It's not an option. That's what it takes to do the job. The second power supply always runs the pump at 13.5 volts. So when you're down at 9 volts testing the injector driver and the injector together down here, just like we're cranking our car in the parking lot at the airport after being gone for 2 weeks and it's cold out, right? Yeah. That's what's going to happen. But at least the rail pressure wasn't a variable, right? So I keep the rail pressure consistent because the pump had 13.5 volts. I've got a race car fuel system in this thing, right? It uses a regulator that's set. Yep. I've got a 10 micron filter in there, so I'm not going to gum up the injectors.
When we're tuning, we're not tuning it at 10 volts like a dead battery.
Get that curve so that even if your alternator was moving around on you, at least your fuel delivery is not moving around, right?
Right.
You can concentrate on working on the car, not working on the injectors. Right? I want to take those questions away and make your job easy. That's the whole point of this. But it just took this level of equipment. Well, let's just build it the way you guys build your cars.
Yeah, it's nice and compact too.
So Friday night at 9 o'clock at night, you decide you want to clean the filter. You've got the tools in your shop to work on this thing. Right. There's nothing funny in here.
Yep.
Right?
And this most likely will last 10 years or so. I mean, because we,
Again, I run a 10 micron filter as it comes out of the reservoir. So this is protected and the injectors are protected. Mm-hmm. This is why I don't want dirty stuff going through here. Yeah. Because this is kind of expensive.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to make it so it's hard to break it. Right? You would be failing to hold pressure if we had dirt in it, because the dirt would clog this 10 micron filter pretty fast. But at least you can take it apart and clean it. Or put a new element in it. It's just Deechworks pump, filter, and regulator. It's all made in the USA stuff. Yeah. If you don't like the Deechworks one, you can put whatever you want in there. It's AN fittings. Yeah. I mean, if you say, oh well, I only want Aeromotive. Okay, fine, get an Aeromotive and put it in there. But I mean, they've been pretty good to me. The Deechworks guys, I got a relationship with them. I've been using them for a while. And hot damn if 10 micron filter doesn't just work like it's supposed to.
I just bought a few Deechworks for Kenty. Or no, for Blackie. We're having that low fuel. Well, excellent. It's been probably 5 years since I ever saw any of your stuff on the web, or it's been a while.
Yeah, we moved a lot of the videos that we were shipping as DVDs. Some it still sells them, but we launched a streaming site. So there's cartrainingonline.com. It's linked from my Calibrated Success site. And our Facebook page points there too. And that's where all those videos are now just available for streaming in real time.
Gotcha.
But I mean, there's so many people doing training now.
Just the location is all.
1,004 horsepower.
All natural.
1,004 193 pump gas. Naturally aspirated. This right here makes 1,000 horsepower.
It was just to help for low clearance. Tom Bailey's car, the sick week.